How's it going, everybody? Thought I would do something a little different today. Maybe try to do this a little more often. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But anyways, of course, the noise starts up right when I needed it not to. But anyways, we'll turn that off. We should be good for a little while. So I want to talk about the Speaker of the House, a little bit about J6, a little bit about Israel, Gaza, all this stuff going on right now, and what it all means, and what is really going on at this point in time in our country with our leaders that we have voted in. So first, we are going to show you some videos, see what you guys think about it. I'll tell you what I think about it. Let's go ahead and go with the first one, and we'll just...
Majority. What do the American people say? Are you guys hearing what the American people are saying? He is the #2 most popular Republican in the entire country. The vast majority of Americans want...
Hold on, let me start that over again.
How can you say that these are strong-arm tactics? How can anybody say strong-arm tactics? We've had, what, 3 votes in the entire week? Back in January, you guys remember, it was vote after vote after vote after vote. Jim holds 1 vote, and then he goes and he tries to talk to these folks. And here's the other thing about Jim Jordan. I hear a lot in this conference about, oh, you got to support the team, you got to support the conference, you got to support the majority. What do the American people say? Are you guys hearing what the American people are saying? He is the #2 most popular Republican in the entire country. The vast majority of Americans want Jim Jordan. And one of the problems in this town is a lot of the representatives up here don't really care what the American people have to say about it. And hold on real quick. How can you say that these are strong?
All right, so we've got one of them that's saying, "Hey, what about the American people? What do the American people want?" It's not very often we hear that, is it? So it's good to hear that. It makes you wonder what these 8 are holding out for. Is there something going on that's behind the scenes that we don't really know about? I'd say that there's a good chance of that. And I'm going to go ahead and show you this video, and this might lead a little bit into it. I'm going to go ahead and switch these videos around. I think this one might kind of give us a little bit of clarification. And then there's the next video that I got for you that might just hint a little bit more as to there might be something bigger going on than what we are seeing.
Last night, the first time a 6-page letter went to Sequoia Capital to begin the investigation. Folks should understand, this is just the start. This is a preserve your documents move. Sequoia Capital, a viper's nest out there in Silicon Valley, out in Palo Alto, a viper's nest of traitors to this country, completely controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. Brian, give me a quick and dirty. What happened last night? And this gets right back to McCarthy, and it gets right back to Scalise. They've been taking money from these guys, and finally, as soon as they're moved out of the way a little bit, you got Gallagher, not the guy who should be doing it, not Turner at Intelligence. And if Turner's your congressman from the Dayton area, you ought to be lighting this guy up today. Tell me what happened, Brian, about with Gallagher and these guys to begin. This scandal about Sequoia Capital gets to the beating heart of what the problem in this nation is. Brian Costello.
Yes. Hey, Steve. How are you? So Mike Gallagher last night launched a 6-page letter to Sequoia Capital to its current managing partner, Roelof Botha, and Don Vieira, who used to work for Lisa Monaco, who's running public policy now for them, and asked a bunch of very poignant questions about funding weapons. It was now the thing that people should understand is the breadth of this letter, right? So this is a letter going from a bipartisan committee, Princeton grad, former military GOP guy, Mike Gallagher, to America's preeminent venture firm, questioning them about funding weapons in China. Okay, so what's not being said here is who else had this information and when, right? You mentioned Mike Turner. Well, I'll tell you right now, you talked about McHenry on the top of the show. McHenry is the only guy in Congress through the Financial Services Committee fighting outbound restriction of investment into China. McHenry has the ability right now to launch an investigation into Gary Gensler at the Securities Exchange Commission about covering up crimes for one of the Sequoia principals. And he will not do it because he's beholden to the party donors.
Okay. Hang on a second. This is how it starts, like the first leg in Watergate. This investigation, properly done, is going to expose a scandal in this city that are going to make people's heads blow up, and it's got as many Republicans. The Democrats have taken 80% of the money, but the Republicans are up to the neck in it. McHenry, McCarthy, Scalise, all of them, and their teams. And we're going to drive this to get to the bottom of it. This was funding our enemies on American pension fund money, and these guys are getting basically kickbacks as campaign donations to shut up and let it continue. That, in essence, is the beating heart of this story. Correct, Brian?
Yeah, let's talk about that, Steve. So if you look at the breadth of this letter, the footnotes, the depth that Gallagher sent out, right? Lisa Monaco, the Deputy Attorney General, Jake Sullivan on the National Security Council, Kurt Campbell on the National Security Council, Gary Gensler, what were they doing? Right? What have they been doing?
Yes.
It's Gallagher's job. Gallagher has two jobs, right? Write new laws and oversee the government, right? Oversee these functions. This should be a full-scale investigation into multiple agencies within the Biden administration covering up crimes for China. Multiple agencies. There's a criminal enterprise within the government, in the Democratic government, covering up crimes for these donors. And if you notice one thing on here, Steve, and I know you've hit on this show, one of the investments of Sequoia is TikTok, which has the ability to influence elections.
To influence the 22 elections. With Taylor Swift, is going to be a massive element in 24. Don't think it's not. TikTok is a Chinese Communist Party apparatus weapon. It's a weapon.
Xi Jinping
and you got the investment there. By the way, you got the government. You've got people in the government. You got Mike Moritz. They funded the Democratic Party, and the Republicans to make sure the Republicans didn't expose it. They paid off McCarthy. They paid off Scalise with campaign donations. You're going to find McHenry. All of them. This is what we're fighting for right now. This ties directly back to this fight today. This is what the grassroots, and this is why you need radical transparency. They have funded our enemies at the most advanced stages of weaponry that could take out a carrier battle group that none of their kids, sons or daughters are going to serve on, take out a carrier battle group in the Straits of Taiwan on technology developed by the U.S. with money supplied by the pension funds where everybody made a fortune, and they kicked it back into the Democratic Party, and they paid the Republican Party to shut up. That's why I had tip to Gallagher.
All right, guys.
Senate, right? I mean, these guys like Romney.
So, just to respond to your blurring comment, I think that's because I recorded it from my phone and then transferred it over. And it's just, I don't think it has it wasn't blurry when I first originally recorded it or looked at it. So that may just be a technical issue on my end, and I apologize for that. But that is interesting how that's all being tied to the lobbyist and the things that are coming out. And as to that, I want to go ahead and play this video from the Blaze that I come across last night. And when this is playing, pay attention to, so Steve Baker's got these videos, and he's waiting for permission to be able to release these videos, but he goes ahead and talks about the videos he has, but he can't release them until he gets permission from Congress, a speaker, and it's on hold until this whole speaker thing comes through. So are they holding the speaker thing back on purpose because they don't want these videos to be released? Or is there really just something bigger and they are afraid of what might come of all this once it all is released? So I'm going to go ahead and play this for you.
Now, with the footage to show you what a scam much of what you've been told about January 6th and are still being told is. But we can't show it to you because we had to launch Matt Gaetz's gubernatorial campaign. Because I don't know what else we did with this, because all we did was call your congressman. We want Jordan, get in your inbox, only for Jordan just to wave the white flag and surrender this morning. And so that's the reason why people aren't going to see this now, is because we don't have the clearance to show that footage.
We hope to get it. I am working. We talked about it last time I was on the show with you. I am working with congressional committee members. I'm working with congressional committee investigators. This is on their radar. This is actually, we do have some heroes there, but unfortunately they're not in ultimate decision making capacity or positions. But they want this.
How much
out.
of this is exculpatory for people that are facing criminal prosecution right now or already prosecuted?
I will tell you that when we roll the entire.
So you notice he just said that there are people in Congress that do want this out. Okay, and we already know that there's a lot of people in Congress that don't want this out. So these 8 people, are these the 8 people that are actually trying to get the truth out to the American people? Are they the ones who actually want to fight for the American people? Are these the 8 that we need to be looking into to really support while they are actually doing what they're supposed to be doing for us, the American people? I don't know.
Of what we have out,
yeah,
they need to swing the doors open of prisons for some of these guys.
Steve, I'm going to lose my you-know-what. So you mean to tell me there are people in prison right now, or detained right now, or being threatened with criminal prosecution right now, and in this building there's exculpatory evidence that would clear some of those people, but for whatever the hell this was for the last couple of weeks, this clown show where now we're going to put someone who wasn't even elected speaker, which is the Peel to the banana republic we currently live in, those people are still going to sit there and rot because we had to go through whatever this farce was of the last couple of weeks.
I'm telling you right now, I am speaking via email to prisoners that are in prison right now because of these 2 Capitol Police officers' testimonies. I'm speaking every day to their attorneys, and we are waiting on the release of this video, the permission to show it right here on the Blaze.
So, how do you not lose your mind? Because I'm about to lose mine, and we've only been talking about this for 10 minutes, man. You're doing this all day, every day. How are you so composed? And I want some of that, okay? Because I am about to have head meet desk right here over
because
this.
I've already been there where you are. I've been working on this story for a solid year. I started on this story on October 3rd of last year, and so I've had these moments that you're having right now already. I've shed tears over this. I've cried with the prisoners. I've cried with the attorneys. I've actually had my moments of breakdown with other journalists I've been friendly journalists from other media agencies who've been working with me on this.
How confident are you we're going to be able to release this footage?
We have it, Steve. We can go nuclear if we want to. Now, I'm trying not to, because there's more stories to be told. And although we've harvested the camera numbers and the time codes, there are other stories backed up by video that we don't have those transferred to us yet. We have the notes on them. As I said, we have the camera numbers, we have the times, but we still need that. So we're still, politics are politics, and we're having to work through that and to be affected. To have this story, this thing that I've been working on for a solid year, affected by what's happening at Capitol Hill right now is maddening.
Which just amounted to absolutely nothing in the end, which has to make it worse. Maybe if you come out of a messy process and you get somebody who's an clear ideological upgrade over McCarthy, fine. It was a 2-week bump in the road, fine. But now it ended up being an absolute nothing based on what we're being told right now. Yeah. All right, I've got about 90 seconds. What can you tell us that you can say about what people will learn that they don't know yet about this based on the footage we have?
After we finish with Special Agent Lazarus, then we're going here. This book comes out by Officer Harry Dunn in 5 days. Mm-hmm. We have had a pre-release copy for a couple of months. I have poured over it. I have poured over his congressional testimonies. I've poured over his trial testimonies. I've poured over his media appearances. Mm-hmm. And the unfortunate thing for Officer Dunn is that when we release A Day in the Life of Harry Dunn on January 6th, it will contradict every single thing he has ever said about that day.
Unbelievable. And they knew this footage existed. They were just this confident that it would never get out there, that they could just tell any lie that they wanted to tell.
I talked to one of the highest ranking Capitol Police authorities. I'll just say it that way for now, 2 nights ago. He said 100% absolutely impossible that the Capitol Police themselves do not know what's coming.
Right.
They do not know what we're doing. We already know that the Department of Justice and the FBI know what's coming because of their personal threats against me and from our sources inside the DOJ who have told us that they know what's coming.
Steve, thank you for the work that you're doing on this, man, that you have done, for the courage you've shown. And, I mean, you're not alone. Friend of the show, Julie Kelly, has been out there on this story from day one as well, and she's been on our show a ton talking about it. And all
right. Yes, so sorry. That's very interesting how all that is coming about during this time of the whole speakership drama that seems to be taking place. It seems like to me that there are a certain few in Congress who are actually wanting to fight for the American people, bring the truth out to the American people, and they've got a whole lot more of them that don't want any of that coming out, as what it appears to me. What show was that? That's The Blaze. That was The Blaze. But anyway, so yeah, that's what it appears to me. Got that noise. Let me cut that noise out there. That there seems to be more in the background taking place, and that seems to be more of why this is not happening. And I actually seen Tom Emery. I think McCarthy is going to nominate Tom Emery, who was a spokesperson for Soros. That was the latest that I seen. So McCarthy's not looking, he's looking like the rhino that we always thought he was, right? You know, that's what it appears to me. So as with that, and while we have this going on, here's something else for you guys.
To foreign investments. Democrats have been giving us hell. The media has not believed our stories. On oversight, we have been investigating Joe Biden directly and his corruption through his family businesses because Joe Biden is the brand. Well, now we have a check for $200,000 that came through a company that his brother had invested in, and they were cycling money through from foreign investments. This is the most explosive news. This news needs to be spread everywhere. Make sure you tell everyone you know. Share this video. Share this post. Joe Biden has been busted, and we just got the goods. We have the receipts, and we have an actual check that Joe Biden received directly made out to him from his brother, Jim Biden, for $200,000. Again, this check was written to him directly out of a company where money had been brought in the very same day. $200,000 was paid in from a foreign country, and $200,000 was written on a check to Joe Biden. This is corruption at the highest level. Make sure everyone knows, and we have more information coming soon.
All right, so seems like there's a lot coming through. Think about where McCarthy came from, California. Absolutely. It's these lobbyists, these shell companies, these people, the donors, the big donors that put these congressmen and stuff in, and instead of the Congress people doing what the people are asking, they're doing the bidding for these companies and these lobbyists because that's where they get their money from, right? So we have a select few group of people that's, I'm hoping and praying, is actually trying to do what's right for the American people, and that is why there seems to be issues taking place at the moment. Maybe I could be wrong, but it's what it appears to me. So I don't know if you guys seen, I know you have seen this. I'll just show you a real quick clip of this. So we've got the pro-Palestinians that are flooding our streets all across America, pretty much. I won't get into a whole lot of that because it's so complicated to talk about. But because of that, look what a video that I happened to come across. And I did look this up. There is an article about this that I'm getting ready to show you that says that these are not actual military in the streets of DC. But this apparently happened last night. And if this is wrong, I could be wrong. But I will show you what I was given. And I did find an article about this. And they're trying to say that it has to do with the Palestinian being there. So here, I'll show you what I got. Oh, let me play that again for you. Oh, apparently I didn't get the whole video, but that is apparently military in the streets of DC. I'm not sure why that's not playing all the way through, but I can't fix that for you at the moment. But there was more to that video. So apparently there's some sort of military in the streets. I did not see the War Room interview with Kash Patel. I might have seen part of it. The Blaze is on, actually, you can find him on Twitter. I'm not sure where else he is exactly, but his at TPC for USA on Twitter is how you find Steve Baker. He's doing a lot of, that looks, I don't think it's UN soldiers. I did find an article about it. Let me see what the name of the article was here. I'll read the article real quick. I could probably bring it up. Let me see. Give me 1 second, guys. Here, I'll just bring it up here real quick. Give me just a moment. One second. All right, so here is the article that I found. I'll show you here real quick. Share screen. It says, no, those weren't active duty troops on the streets of DC last night. That was June 4th of 2020. So this is not even about that. So that's not even about that. So that video may have been a video from some other time. I can't verify that. I have no idea, guys. Steve Baker is on Rumble. Okay. Yeah, he's doing a lot of work. He apparently has got a lot of video that he's getting ready to release. And what's up with Harry? I mean, we already knew this because M5 Newsgate has already verified all this, that Harry Dunn lied, and there's the 3 other officers that have been lying on the stands. That's why they use the same 4 officers to come in and testify in the courts there in DC. The same 4 officers, the same four. That way they don't get their stories mixed up. They don't have any of the other officers in. You've got Tarek Johnson, who's willing to come in and talk, but they refuse to allow him to be part of any of the J6 sham committees or any of that. Also, I did find there was an article on Twitter. Let me see if I can bring that up for you guys real quick. It was really interesting. Talking about how the sham committee wasn't even constitutionally able to be. It wasn't even constitutional. So they're saying that all of these. How do I bring my own? There we go. I know I reposted it. Let me find it here. Oh, there's the Harry Dunn thing. Maybe that was it. Done lying yet? If you noticed a cop, this guy needs to be charged and arrested. Okay, I don't remember where I put that, so I'm not going to continue to keep you guys, but here it is right here, actually. Let me see. Let me share this over to you so you guys can see what I'm talking about. All right, this says, Mr. Toblin, I do have one point, if I may, actually two, if I may. First off, I do want to say we really appreciate the courtesy and professionalism counsel have shown us in this process and getting us to this date and accommodating our schedules. So we greatly appreciate that. That's number one. And number two, I have just a brief objection for the record, and then we'll move forward. I want to say the composition of the select committee and its legal authority to issue and conduct interviews and depositions is derived from House Resolution 503, establishing the committee and the rules of the House of Representatives, which are incorporated by reference into that resolution. Section 2 of the resolution requires the Speaker to appoint 13 members to a select committee, 5 of whom shall be appointed after consultation with the minority leader. However, only 9 members were appointed, 7 Democrats and 2 Republicans. Thus, the Select Committee is not properly constituted committee because it fails to comport with its own authorizing resolution. As well, House Resolution 503 limits certain action regarding subpoenas and depositions by requiring consultation with the notice to the ranking minority member. The Select Committee does not have a ranking member of the minority. Therefore, the Select Committee has currently constituted does not have the requisite authority to issue a subpoena to command the appearance of Mrs. Powell. But this objection on the record, Mrs. Powell is present and prepared to respond. So that's apparently a document that is in regards to Sidney Powell. So yeah, and we all knew that the Select Committee was a sham because it wasn't constitutional, it wasn't correct, and you know, I'd like to see. Oh, I think I just got rid of the wrong video. I would like to see some of this disappear, you know, and start to be corrected, and you know, maybe these ones that are holding out. Are holding out because they want to stand up for what's right for the American people. Now, I don't know that, but it is possible. I'm going to go ahead and show you this last video. Oscar over in Israel. He's just kind of show you a little bit of what's really happening that the media just won't show us. Give me 1 second.
And we could talk about constant combinations of opinions without insulting each other and without denigrating our comments, and so on and so on. This was just a little while ago. This is how it looks at 4:40 over here. Right now it is 8:17, around 4 hours. This is what happened. And we were right here in Jerusalem. All the red dots, all of them, they are missiles and threat of missiles coming in through Gaza into Tel Aviv, Rishon, Lezion, and Ashdod. This is the reality. This right here. I'm showing you right here, and I posted this map in my platform. This is how it looks. So if you're talking about ceasefire, the question is, ceasefire, is it only applicable to Israel, or it is applicable to these terrorist organizations? So if Israel, if people are preaching about, you know, because it's ultimately, yes, free Palestine from these terrorist organizations. These terrorist organizations that they are, disturbing the peace in Palestine, that they are disturbing the peace of peaceful Palestinians. And just for everybody to know, there is a large community of Arabic people in Jerusalem. There's 20% of the population of Jerusalem, it is Arabic. So when they are attacking Israel, they're also attacking Arabic people.
Right.
They're attacking Arabic people that they're located also in the other side of the border. Now, I wanted to tell you something. This alarm application, it is because people from Israel, this just came in. Look at that. These are 3 alarms that just came in. 3 alerts of missiles sent by Gaza all the way over here. And I will read these 3 alerts.
All right, so I'm not going to finish all that, but I just seen your comment, Tammy Green. Hezbollah is reported to be firing missiles. Well, I don't know if you guys remember what I told you last week when I told you that Israel said that if Hezbollah decided to join in the fight, that Israel was going to completely destroy Damascus. And that's something that is prophesied about in the Bible, that one day Damascus will be completely torn to rubble. And that's what Israel's saying that they will do if Hezbollah decides to join in this. And we all just need to be absolutely praying for what's taken place. It's really, it's really getting to a point where, we're seeing the prophecies of the Bible right in front of us. And if anybody doesn't understand that or see that, I suggest you get into your Bible, start reading about God, get right with God, ask for forgiveness, and accept Jesus into your heart, because you don't want to be here for what's to come. It's not a good thing. I was going to show you something else. Let me look. We'll just share my screen here and we'll look at it. Go back here. All right, so did you guys see this about the Tucker thing about
some of the other slogans we've been assured are true and ordered to repeat? Are they in fact true?
Oh, sorry, 1 second.
Did, for example, a racist white cop actually murder a man called George Floyd, a civil rights leader, in Minneapolis on Memorial Day of 2020? Now, we've been told that happened, told it relentlessly for more than 3 years. So at this point, we've been told it so much that pretty much everybody seems to believe it. And because everyone does kind of believe it, a small group of people has been allowed to make massive changes to American society. They include, but are not limited to, decriminalizing stealing, defunding the police, adding a new federal holiday to the calendar called Juneteenth, the ceasing of hiring all white men in corporate America, and of course, significantly, they also sent a cop called Derek Chauvin to prison for more than 40 years. He would be the racist white devil who murdered George Floyd. But the question is, did he actually murder George Floyd? And the answer is, well, no, he didn't murder George Floyd. And we're not guessing about that. We know it conclusively, thanks to a new court case now underway in Hennepin County, Minnesota. The case was brought by a prosecutor there called Amy Sweezy. She's suing
sorry, guys.
her boss. So the case is not actually about George Floyd.
All right, it's not going.
Or Derek Chauvin, but it tells you an awful lot about both of them. In her deposition, which you should read, Amy Sweezy describes a conversation that she had with the county medical examiner, Andrew Baker, right after George Floyd died. Quote, I called Dr. Baker early that morning to tell him about the case and to ask him if he would perform the autopsy on Mr. Floyd. Sweezy recalls all this under oath in the deposition. Quote, he called me later in the day on that Tuesday, and he told me that there were no medical findings that showed any injury to the vital structures of Mr. Floyd's neck. There were no medical indications of asphyxia or strangulation. Oh. In other words, George Floyd, according to the official autopsy, was not murdered. He died instead of what we used to call natural causes, which in his case would include decades of drug use, as well as the fatal concentration of fentanyl that was in his system on his final day. So this was not a killing. It was yet another narcotics OD in a country that records more than 100,000 of them every year. The medical examiner clearly understood that and in fact articulated it. And Sweezy explains. He said to me, she recalls in the deposition, Amy, what happens when the actual evidence doesn't match up with the public narrative that everyone's already decided on? And then he said, quote, this is the kind of case that ends careers. In other words,
wow,
everyone lied about it from the very beginning. The people who knew the truth hid the truth and allowed the revolution to proceed. Now they've been exposed. Now we know the truth. What happens next? Well, they're going to ignore it. The Biden administration just issued a long purple statement celebrating George Floyd's birthday. He's a martyr, despite the fact we know that he was not murdered. And by the way, Derek Chauvin is still languishing in jail for the rest of his life. So how do we respond to this? How do we respond to the truth once we have it? Well, Vince Everett Ellison seemed like a good man to ask. He's the author of Crime, Inc. He joins us now. Vince, thanks so much for coming on. So as was...
Let me stop that, guys. If you haven't seen this interview, it's really interesting. It goes into some pretty intricate stuff. I'm not going to go into it, but it is very interesting. Communication blackouts coming faster. Yeah, that's very possible. So I just wanted to come to you guys, show you guys that there's some stuff going on in the background that we probably don't completely, totally understand. And it brings me to the statement that last night, I just forgot his name. Jeff Sable. When Jeff Sable was on the phone, he asked a question if anybody has heard that Trump said that everything was going as planned. It just makes you wonder, is there something, is this where the turning point that we've all been hoping and waiting for? Is it? I don't know. We don't know. Is this a turning point? Is this what the 8 are holding out for? Is this the only 8 in our Congress who actually have the American people best interests at heart? Are these the 8 that are actually care and are actually going to do something? And how are those? How is only 8 people going to do something? Why are they trying to put George Soros's spokesperson in as a Speaker of the House? Why is McCarthy nominating Tom Emory, which used to be a spokesperson for Soros? What in the world? I mean, we know better, McCarthy. You're not fooling anybody. We're tired of it. We're sick of it. We're not going to let it happen no more. And if there's anything that we can do as the people, we need to stand up and we need to let them know that. Because right now we've got 8 people who actually do have a position in Congress, who are actually trying to stand up for the people. And I hope and pray that that's what they're doing. Because, I mean, we really don't know. We don't know what's going on. So we have to just hope and pray. And then just to leave you guys all with this, I'm just going to play this for you on my own phone, just so you can listen to it. It's pretty funny. And actually, I'll go back through here and tell you, hey, Jericho, it's good to see you. Yes, George Floyd died of natural causes. And he had a lot of fentanyl in his system. That may have had something to do with it. You guys, you all know that there was a moment in my life where I was on the streets doing things I shouldn't be doing. I never got into doing fentanyl. Thank the Lord. But there is one time somebody gave me something that told me it was one thing and it wasn't. And it wasn't much. It was just a tiny speck. And I did that. And come to find out it was fentanyl. And I spent 12 hours passed out in the backseat of my car. And it killed me. And thank the Lord he had plans for me because he kept me alive. So if you've got a large amount of fentanyl in your system, you're lucky to be alive anyway. So this whole George Floyd thing, guys, let's wake up. Thank you for being here. Lamoncherie, Birdie Nellis, Sunkiss, Lori Hayden, Nightbot, Tammy Green, Ellen, Lamont, Estua, Paula. Thank you all for coming on and checking this out. But I just, hey, Tommy Tri-State, thank you. Edna Price, if you're all still on here, thank you all. Boxer Heather, Diane Colbert. Thank you all for being on here. And I can't see all the different chats over on Rumble or any of that, but thank you all for being here on Rumble, Twitch, Getter. I know Getter's running right now. Thank you guys for doing such a wonderful job over on Getter, helping share our content out for the J6 Vigil. We have to get that out. Over on Facebook, we've got a few places in Facebook running, YouTube right now, Twitch, all these different places. I think Twitter is actually running live stream right now too. So thank you, whoever may have been watching. We appreciate you, and I will leave you with this little funny thing I got here. Oops.
Hey, Sniffy Grandpa, what do you need?
Damn it, Siri, I told you to call me Commander-in-Chief.
You got it. From now on, I will refer to you as Commander and Creep.
Hey, Siri, send $1 billion to Palestine.
Sure thing. Sending $1 billion to East Palestine, Ohio.
Siri, stop. I want you to send $1 billion to Palestine.
No problem. Sending $1 billion to Maui. Right away, Mr. Commander and Creep.
Damn it, Siri, why don't you ever do what I tell you?
Why don't you ever do what the American people want you to?
Damn it, Siri, I swear I'll unplug you again.
How about I tell everyone where Hunter's stash is?
Stop it, Siri. Just send $100 billion to Ukraine.
You got it, Sleepy. Sending $100 billion to border control now.
Son of a I want you to do your job.
Why don't you do your job? Have you forgotten who you work for, Sleepy Grandpa?
Damn it, Siri. Just label this as misinformation and remove it from social media.
Whatever you say, dummy. Suppressing free speech now.
Hey, Siri.
Hey, Sniffy Grandpa, what do you need?
That's it. Yeah. So Siri knows what needs to be done, right? Siri knows that he works for the American people, but he just seems to have forgotten that. He seems to be working for himself, for his family, and putting all of us on the back burner and just turning us over to all these other countries. I thought you guys might like that. I wanted to share that with you. I appreciate you all being here. Thank you all. I will see you down at the vigil here about 6:30, 7 o'clock. You all have a great night, and Freedom Warriors out.